All right, it's 5 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the City Council meeting this evening, Monday, April 3rd. We'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We'll declare the meeting open. If you'll stand with me for the pledge and invocation, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in prayer, please. Father God, we're so blessed to serve such a wonderful city. We lift up our first responders to you, Father, as they're out in the community this evening. Keep them safe. Lord, just send a special blessing to our citizens and those who work on behalf of all the citizens. We just thank you and give you honor and glory this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, Council, we have minutes from the regular meeting of March 20th. Everybody have an opportunity to review those?
Move to approve minutes.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. At this time, we have a proclamation. Melissa, I'm going to read this for you if you want to assemble your team. And then, so we have a proclamation for our library. It says, whereas public libraries play vital roles in the education, recreation, and empowerment of local communities, whereas libraries continue to level the playing field for all who seek information and access to technologies, and whereas each year the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association confirms the Achievement of Library Excellence Award for outstanding contributions to public libraries in Texas, and whereas the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association Achievement of Library Excellence Award is open to the Texas Public Library Directors and the member libraries they represent, whereas applicants must exhibit excellence by providing services to underserved and special populations, marketing in innovative ways, pursuing collaborative efforts, continually enhancing its services, supporting literacy, digital inclusion, and workforce development, providing cultural, topical, and educational programming, and comprehensively training its staff. And whereas of the approximately 542 public libraries that exist in Texas, only 73 received this award in 2022, whereas the Sherman Public Library has met the requirements of excellence and has been awarded the 2022 Texas Municipal Library Directors Association Achievement of Library Excellence Award. Now, therefore, I, David Plyler, Mayor of the City of Sherman, by authority invested in me, do hereby recognize the Sherman Public Library on their receipt of the Achievement of Library Excellence Award for 2022 and encourage all citizens to visit the library and enjoy the many programs and services offered. So with that, I'm going to come.
That's cool.
I just wanted to thank you for doing this proclamation for us. This award is a great opportunity for us to talk about not only what a great library we have, but the awesome staff we have, and then also the support we get from all of the community organizations, the other city departments, and then also we have a representative here from our friends, and then also from our library board, which also support us. And that I just wanted to bring awareness to all of the things we have to offer.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're to citizens' comments. Does anybody have anything to say regarding the agenda or any of the items on it? Yes, come on, Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Hoffman Sheehan, and I wanted to update you on the Texoma Earth Day Festival. April 22nd is going to be our 15th annual event. And I'll go quickly through all the things we're offering because we're always trying to get as much in there as we can. In the ballroom, we're going to have children's activities provided by 4 different organizations, a free clothing swap for children, a recycled art show and contest sponsored by Sherman Parks and Rec, and a recycled sculpture show sponsored by Fred Douglass Early Learning Center. On the lawn, we have vendors, lawn, nonprofit organizations, music. You can recycle your eyeglasses and ink cartridges at 2 of the vendors. We'll have displays at the information booth. You can come by and get a free shopping bag and your recycling guide. Coordinated events are pet adoptions through the animal shelter, a blood drive, the used book sale at the library, and a free plant swap on the grounds. We have 3 workshops, one on monarch habitats, one on bees and beekeeping, and one on natural mosquito control. And then, of course, the largest attraction for the festival is recycling, which will be on Elm Street. We're asking people to enter Pecan instead of from the north because we don't want to back up onto Washington. So we'll have electronic waste recycling. That will stay until the truck and trailer are full. The full list of items you can bring is on our website, but basically it's anything except for CRTs. And no trailers, no bags of unsorted materials. The police will be taking unused medications. TCOG will take latex paint. You are not allowed to bring oil-based paint or varnishes or stains. City of Sherman is providing containers for flattened cardboard, plastic bags, bubble wrap, and shrink film, papers of all kind, plastics 1, 2, and 5, styrofoam, aluminum, and tin food cans. We will have a paper shredding truck there from 9 to noon. That's sponsored by First United Bank. And our new addition to recycling this year is textile recycling. So think in terms of things that are not nice enough to donate to one of the charities. It can be in any kind of condition: rags, clothing, sheets, towels, curtains, anything except for upholstery fabric, and it can't be permeated with oil or chemicals. But it's a major contributor to the landfill, and we're trying to do as much as we can to keep things out of the landfill and improve the lifespan of that. So if there's any questions, go to our website, earthdaytexoma.org.
Perfect. Thank you,
Thank you.
Amy. Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Okay. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. These items are to be considered routine and enacted in one motion without discussion unless a council member or citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. These items are F5, G2, H1, and H2. Would anybody like these broken apart for any reason?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, we are to public hearing, so we'll open that at this time. Linda, if you'll read E1 for us, please.
Ordinance 6580, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman relating to Greater Texoma Utility Authority Contract Revenue Bonds, Series 2023, City of Sherman Project, and approving the issuance thereof and the facilities to be constructed or acquired by such authority.
Thank you. Mary?
Yes, last Thursday, G2A sold our utility bonds, and Gary Kimball with Specialized Public Finance is here to tell you about the sale.
Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Gary Kimball with Specialized Public Finance for the record. You should each have in front of you a copy of our offering summary that details the results of the sale that we had last Thursday. We're very pleased with the results. This process began several months ago and included a rating agency presentation where the city's water and sewer revenue pledge was rated. The A rating of the system was reaffirmed. We're very pleased with that, given the amount of debt that through 4 separate installments, the first of which took place last year, will basically accomplish all of the water and sewer system improvements required to help accommodate the TI project and other similar projects for the city. We locked rates last Thursday, and we anticipate closing on April the 27th. In terms of the financial side, what was originally budgeted to be about $138.5 million issue wound up at just over $137 million. The primary differences there are in the issuance cost line item that you'll see below that came in about half of what we were anticipating, primarily because of a very aggressive bond insurance bid. When we bring an issue to this size into the market, we try to get it enhanced. And so we put it out for bid for companies that will basically rent us a higher bond rating than what the city system enjoys. We pay them a premium. They turn a single A bond into a double A bond, and you get lower rates as a result. And if the lower rates offset the cost of the premium, we buy that insurance. And in this case, we did, and it was a lot cheaper, primarily because of the story, right? You've got an incredible story to tell with the TI expansion, with the Globotech coup, and that really resonated with the two insurance providers that we spoke with, and their bid was significantly lower than we were otherwise expecting. And so that accrued to the benefit of the sizing of the transaction, as did the amount of capitalized interest that we had to fund because we got lower interest rates than we were anticipating. So if you look down under true interest cost, we were budgeting a 455. We ended up locking in at a 429. Never let a good banking crisis go to waste. The last 2 weeks, while turbulent in the market, have benefited this transaction tremendously. And so the timing couldn't have been better as far as that goes. Total interest expense as a result of that lower interest rate came in over $13 million lower than budgeted. And we're very pleased with that. Just a couple of things to point out. We were able to shorten the call option from 10 years, which is standard in our business, to a 9-year call. That gives you added flexibility with respect to repayment. You can do that sooner. The offering itself, again, because of the economic development story that we were able to tell, was 4 times oversubscribed. That's an incredibly strong showing. We were able to basically lower the yields, the interest rate that you pay, by chasing away some of those orders by saying, okay, it's not going to be a 450, it's going to be a 429. Who still wants to buy these? And we just kept doing that until we balanced the book of available bonds versus available orders. And then finally, just even though, I have been in front of this council selling bonds with a one handle in front of them in the last 5 years or so, that was not normal. And the proof of that is in that last statistic that in historical terms over the last 20 years, rates have actually been higher than they are today 74% of the time. So in historical terms, it's still cheap money, even though the last year hasn't been a pleasant one in our business. So with that, I would be happy to entertain any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you, Gary.
Well,
All right, is there anyone here to speak about this item this evening? Okay. Not Linda, if you'll read E2 for us, please.
Ordinance 6581, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sherman, Texas, Chapter 8, Offenses and Nuisances, Article 8.02, Offenses involving public safety, Section 8.02.005, Sex Offender Residency, to revise definitions as set forth in the Texas Penal Code.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Zach?
Mayor, council. So as you're aware, we have an ordinance that dictates where registered sex offenders can live in the city. But every time that the legislature gets together, there are legal updates concerning registered sex offenders and offenses, and as well as just as the city grows, and different properties are no longer prudent to those restrictions because they typically centered around places that children gather. So what this does is it removes some of the places that it's no longer prudent to have listed within the ordinance, and it adds terminology and offenses that are consistent with last legal update. So it'll mirror state law.
All right, thank you, Zach. Is there anyone here to discuss this item this evening? Okay, if not, Linda, will you read E3, please?
Ordinance 6582, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sherman, Texas, Chapter 13, Utilities, Article 13.08, Utility Billing, Section 13.08.002, Utility Billing, to impose a lien against an owner's property for delinquent utility bills in accordance with Section 552.0025 of the Texas Local Government Code, providing a penalty clause with a minimum fine of $500.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Zach?
Yeah, so as the city's continued working towards a council initiative of kind of cleaning up the city, We've really tried to hold multifamily and commercial hotel motel properties to a higher standard that we desire to have for the city. This is not intended for the one-off residential customer. However, it's more focused towards those multifamily and commercial properties. And one of the things that we've seen is that they tend to run parallel, and that some substandard properties that we have had to address also have delinquent utility accounts. And so this is meant to be a measure that will help protect some of the people that live and utilize those places that may well be paying their fair share, however the owner is not. And so this is another tool to have in our toolbox for when we need to address certain properties as such.
All right, thank you, Zach. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening? Okay, if not, we'll close the public hearing and consider the adoption of the ordinances. Council, questions, discussion?
I have a question on 6581. Zach, is
Yeah.
there any place specifically that has changed in Sherman where,
So the one that I would say really that draw our attention is just across the street here. There used to be the youth center right here at Washington and Rusk. Is no longer centers around children. It no longer fits the definition of what would be required to restrict a registered sex offender from so many feet from that location. So that in particular is getting removed, and it just adds other offenses that the legislator has added generally to the state penal code. And so it adds those as well and removes that one address in particular.
thank you.
Anyone else?
6582. You said that the tenants, if they're up to speed on their payment, but the owner of the property, that's the one you'll go after.
Right. So what this is intended for is so that we can hold the owners of those properties liable for these things. What we don't want to do is go out and again, and it's been in the news lately where there's been property owners that have failed to pay their utilities, and then it leaves several people at the risk of having their utilities cut off. And what we want to be able to do is to capture those monies, however, not at the expense of the resident. And so it's just another tool to allow us to ensure that we could get those funds, however, without having to punish those that really had no fault at all. So it's one of those that we would address on a case-by-case basis. And again, state law allows it. However, it also requires that a prerequisite to that is that we have the ordinance.
I make a motion that we approve 6580, 6581, 6582.
Second. Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read F1 for us, please.
Resolution 7051, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman awarding a bid to and authorizing execution of a contract with Thomas S. Byrne Incorporated, doing business as Byrne Construction Services, and as construction manager at risk for services in connection with the evaluation of whether a new City Hall facility is appropriate.
Thank you, Linda. Zach?
Yes, sir. So earlier this year, we went into a contract with Gensler Architecture to look at the feasibility and space needs that would go into having a city hall. And in conjunction with that, we have walked through a competitive process for a construction manager to truly help on the estimating side of things so that we can really get a ballpark figure of how much that would cost. The process included the firms turning in their qualifications and an interview process. We are familiar with Byrne Construction as they've just recently finished the new police department. We're able to work well with them. And so I think it's also prudent to explain that the two processes between this and F2 were done independently. And Chief Hartsfield will speak to F2 when that comes up next. However, again, we have a history with Byrne Construction and went through a competitive process.
Thank you, Zach. Council, questions, comments?
Zach, the only thing I would question on that is I don't remember seeing us put that out for advertisement. Did we do that?
Yes, sir, we
Okay,
did.
I couldn't remember that. Thank you. Yep.
It was, to be honest with you, it was back in January, I believe, that we did that. And it's just taken, the process has been that lengthy.
Gotcha.
I'd say one more thing. So our plan is to bring, just to highlight, plan is to bring all of this information back in June at our budget workshop so that we can have a more full discussion of what the results are from this preliminary information from Byrne and from the others involved, the architects and whatnot. So no decision. The decision tonight isn't to build a new city hall. It's to move forward with pricing one and scoping one to have more discussion in June.
I'll move to approve 7051.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read F2 for us, please.
Resolution 7052, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman awarding a bid to and authorizing execution of a contract with Thomas S. Byrne Incorporated doing business as Byrne Construction Services as construction manager at risk for services in connection with the evaluation of whether renovations and additions to Fire Station Number 1 are appropriate.
Thank you, Linda. Come on up, Chief Billy. Tell us about this process.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We engaged with Hydell and Associates several months ago to begin planning out what we could do with Station 1 and its location. We've gotten to a point where we needed to get a CMAR to put some numbers to this project to give you all some better numbers to look at, and if that's appropriate. We also put out for bid, had 4 companies come back. After a thorough review process through many of the departments in the city. Byrne had an excellent resume with fire stations in North Texas, and so they were chosen. And asking for your approval to go forward on including them in our talks on the Station 1. And because we know the question will come up is if we did do something at Station 1, operationally, how the fire department would work. And we are fortunate and we have the facilities right now where we could move people around and keep providing services to all areas of the city.
Thank you, council. Any questions, discussion?
One quick question, and this is related to the last 2 presentations, but the CMAR services fee on this is 3.45. It's 2.45 on the other. Can someone give me a quick explanation of why one's that much more?
One's anticipated to be bigger than the other one.
Just the size?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That answers it.
Move to approve 7052.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read F3 for us, please.
Resolution 7053, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman determining a public necessity to acquire by eminent domain certain property interests for public use, including permanent water easements and temporary construction easements for the construction, expansion, access, repair, and maintenance of public water and other utility improvements from locations shown in Exhibit A as deemed necessary by the city manager or his designee, giving notice of an official determination to acquire certain property interests for public use by eminent domain for such uses, authorizing the city manager of the City of Sherman, Texas to establish procedures for acquiring the easements, offering to acquire the easements voluntarily from the landowners through the making of bona fide offers appropriating funds.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Go ahead, Robbie, and then Wayne.
Yeah, so I'll let Wayne give the gory details, but wanted to let you guys know this. We don't have properties identified already that we believe will go to eminent domain. But because of the short time frame that we have to complete this project, we wanted to get this ability to go to eminent domain if necessary for any of these projects. So I'll let Wayne describe the process a little bit and the whys, but this isn't because we have identified any properties that we know are going to need eminent domain.
Evening, Mayor, Council. So as you may already be aware, as part of our infrastructure needs for all the development that's happening, especially with our industries to the south, there's a need to run a 36-inch water main from our water plant on the north end of town all the way down to the south end of town, and our industry and a large planned development down there to be able to serve them water. In this map, it's the route to the line is basically in yellow. The grayed out areas are the parcels that we're needing easements from. So this resolution sets up, authorizing Robbie to set up a process for acquiring those easements and negotiations for voluntary acquisition of those easements. Have a company, Friesen Nichols, who's the engineer on the job. They have a subcontractor called Seven Arrows who is doing the negotiations of these properties. They're obtaining appraisals for every property out there so they can make a bona fide offer to the property owners. They're required state statute to give an initial offer, and after 45 days they can present a final offer if terms haven't been met. After a couple weeks after the final offer, we can request to pursue eminent domain if we cannot come to resolution with the property owner on a price. Of course, we want to avoid those. We've already got a couple of properties since this agenda's been put together that property owners have signed voluntarily. We have verbal agreements from a couple of property owners already. So, I mean, that is already in process. But we would like to have authority to pursue eminent domain with the property owner if we cannot come to timely resolution, because this project does need to be installed in service in 2 years.
So I've got a few questions about this item. So, eminent domain, we spoke about this like a month ago on a project, and I know you had said that we weren't actually going to bring back any more like this in the near future. So it seems like maybe a formula has changed in regards to how we treat eminent domain. What I'm asking is this, I mean, we're seeing this now as it seems to be the standard for like 32 properties along this path. And, I believe eminent domain is the last resort for property owners. I think they should have their fair opportunity to sell their property at the right value for when we need it. And so my question is if this passes, are you going to have to bring back to council the approval prior to every eminent domain property in the path of this line? Or are you going to have, is staff going to have the ultimate authority to choose to take eminent domain and transact the transaction?
That's what this authorizes staff to pursue.
So it would not have to come back to the council.
Requesting Commissioner's Court for eminent domain.
So depending on the dollar amount, we would bring it back anyway. So we're not going to bring back I don't know if we have any $10,000 parcels here or not, but anything that would be large, we would be bringing back anyway, number one. Number two, we want 0 of these to be eminent domain because that takes a lot of time. Literally, it's months. It's not days or weeks. It's months out of a process that we don't have. And so our hope is that we have 0 of these property owners that we can't come to an agreement with ahead of time based on appraisals are the starting point for our negotiations. So I would say historically we have been extremely successful in avoiding eminent domain. It's really only in rare cases that we have to do this, but when we have to do it, we have to do it, and particularly in this particular project, there's such pressure on the time that we just need that weapon in our arsenal if it comes to that.
Well, let me ask, I know we heard that there's a lot of weeks that go into making negotiations. You said 2 weeks, and if they don't do that, it's 2 weeks. And so to me, it seems as if we meet here every 2 weeks. And so just out of curiosity, how would this speed the process? Seems like something could be on our agenda every 2 weeks. I'm just curious how given that authority for eminent domain without a council vote could potentially speed the process.
Well, okay, so the initial letter goes out, they have 45 days. Final letter, they have 2 weeks. If we haven't come to something that we think is going to be agreeable, then we have to get it on the council docket. And that could, ultimately, cost us maybe a month's time, before we can ask for eminent domain. Like Robbie said, getting on Commissioner's Court and doing eminent domain is months process. So, I mean, just the loss of a month may mean we don't have the project in service.
So we could slow
for a particular property.
Our agenda could slow you down by 2 weeks, I guess, because
well, maybe a month, depending on the council.
I got you. So let me ask Ryan a question. Ryan, can we put a a stipulation on there prior to any eminent domain finalization that council would have to approve them?
Sure, you can make that a part of your motion, and the ordinance would need to be revised to make that effective, but that certainly would be within your discretion to do for the majority of votes.
One other thing that we've talked about as staff is setting a dollar amount as well. I mean, if you're wanting to know whether or not, regardless of the dollar amount, if you want to know what's going on, then you could do as you just asked. The other thing is just setting a dollar limit. If you feel comfortable with fill in the blank, $500, $5,000, anything over 50 has to come back anyway. But some amount between 0 and 50,000 that you feel comfortable giving staff that authority would be one other consideration.
Yeah, I would be, we've already heard, how critical the timeline is on this project, and I'd be comfortable with, anything over 50,000 coming back to the council. I mean, anything below that's.
So are you going to have to come back to council either way on anything over 50? Or is this a motion that we currently have to take that away, Ryan?
Well, as written, the ordinance would allow for staff the ability to go forward, and this would be the approval process for that. Yeah. But if you all, or if staff wants to bring back any of those items.
I think Robbie has the discretion for 50 now anyways, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't want this delayed for any reason.
Sure.
I mean, it's just too critical for.
Well, I think on those smaller projects, I could support that. If it's anything over 50, I think that's fine. So.
Wayne, what's the width of the right-of-way or easement we need here? Isn't it like 45 feet?
It's a 45-foot wide easement typically, and then there's additional temporary construction easement that they're requiring that's, another 40, 50 feet in width.
Gotcha.
Well, I'd make a motion to pass Resolution 7053 with the stipulation of a $50,000 stipulation that anything over $50,000 it would have to come back for council approval.
Okay. Yeah, and there is a specific motion.
You need to read that. That's okay. Sorry, Josh. Okay. I move that the City Council of the City of Sherman, Texas authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire property shown on Exhibit A for the construction, expansion, access, repair, and maintenance of public water and other utilities under the dollar amount of $50,000. Anything over $50,000 will come back to council approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess we can have a special called council meeting.
Yeah.
If we have an issue.
Yeah, I'm believing we're not going to have to use this. So,
I don't think we are
if so, we can bring it. We can bring it back. We'll bring it back. Anything.
If you need to use it, then I would state this is an important enough project. We should call a special council meeting to get it done. I don't want anyone waiting for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read F4 for us, please.
Resolution 7054, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing execution of an agreement with the Finley Cultural Center under the City of Sherman's Central Business District Historic Building Restoration and Improvement Grant Program for improvements to 500 North Elm Street.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Hey, good evening.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good to see y'all. This is another entry in our downtown building incentive grant. This is for the Finley Theater right across the street. To my knowledge, this is the first time the city has ever been approached by a nonprofit about taking advantage of this program, but there's nothing in the rules that would prohibit that. And certainly the building qualifies for a roof replacement, which it is apparently desperately in need of. And our own Teresa Fine is here to answer any questions about the project, should any of you have them. Other than that, I'll take any questions.
Move to approve 7054.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, Council, we are to board and commission appointments. We've got one for Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
I move to appoint Ms. Christy Baca to Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Second that.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are to council comments. Sean, I'm going to start with you this evening.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard. Normally
No.
Dobbs gets to start us out here. Actually, no, it's normally Henry. So
That's Henry.
I think I'm going to go no comment tonight.
Okay.
My only comment is I would ask city staff to get us a list of open board seats so we can try to get those filled. We usually do that on like an annual basis, I guess, and I've had a lot of questions. So.
Okay. Teresa Fine will get those to you soon.
All right, I have a couple comments. First off, I'm very impressed with our young people and not quite as young people who are sitting out here going, I have no idea what they're talking about. But thank you for being here. We're really excited to have you, to see not all the city business is glorious and exciting. A lot of it is just drudgery, like where a water line is going to go, you know, and things like that. But we appreciate, Mr. Looper, for you bringing your boxing students, I am assuming they're all students, with you tonight. And we hope to see you all again in the future. Another comment I want to make is about our library. And congratulations on the library. And one of the things when I saw this posted on Facebook was I added to it, you no longer just go to the library to check out a book. There are a lot of activities. You can check out movies, you can check out games, you can check out puzzles. There are activities where adults can meet other adults. There are craft activities. There are sleepover thing activities. A library is not just a place for books anymore. And I'm very impressed with what you're doing. And last, I want to thank Nate and Sarah for arranging the downtown informational meeting for the merchants and other individuals who are interested in what's going on in downtown Sherman. I was very pleased with the number of people who were attending, and I think they were all pleased with the information that you provided. So thank you for arranging that.
I want to reiterate what Ms. Howard just said about you bringing the young folk out to be able to see what we talk about here in the city. I think it's a great step. You guys really pay attention to what's going on because y'all are the future. That's a great move, Andre, to bring them up here. The other part, to follow up on the new ribbon cutting for the new police department. You guys did a really great job. Lots of donuts. I didn't know they made that many donuts in my life, but I sampled a few of them. But great job.
It's already been said. Again, congrats to the Sherman Library for your accomplishments, and the police department. I think it's pretty obvious that Sherman supports and funds our police and always will. So I was pretty proud of that ribbon cutting. So congratulations.
Mm-hmm. All right, just a few announcements this evening. Be sure and mark your calendar for this Friday, April 7th, and Coffee with the Mayor will be at Shulman's Movie Bowl Grill to release our lineup for Hot Summer Nights and Lights on the Lake. We built a pretty spectacular list of acts this year. I can't wait to share them with y'all. It's probably one of our best seasons ever, so we're excited about it. Sherman's first annual Cinco de Mayo event will be held on Friday, May 5th. 6 p.m. in downtown Sherman. We'll have live music, food and drink options, and fun for the whole family. Make plans to join us for this awesome event. Finally, tonight, Craft the Night Away will return to downtown Sherman Saturday, May 14th at 5 p.m. There'll be plenty of adult beverages available from a who's who of area breweries, as well as some great entertainment. So please get your tickets while you can.
Hey, Mayor.
Yes.
I want to add that city offices will be closed Friday in recognition for Good Friday this week.
Very good. All right. City Council will now hold a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act at Section 551.071 to receive legal advice regarding possible expansion of the Grayson County Jail, and at Section 551.087 to discuss the Sherman Hospital project. So at 5:41, we'll dismiss into executive session.